Malaysia, a multiracial and multicultural country that heavily relies on food and beverage services to drive its economy and attract tourists from around the world. However, there's an irony lurking beneath the delicious dishes and mouth-watering delicacies. Despite the significant role of food in the nation's prosperity, many neglections are being made in making food safe for consumption. This has led to rising cases of foodborne diseases in Malaysia. According to a recent report published by the World Health Organization, Southeast Asia has the highest number of foodborne disease cases. In support of that, food poisoning in Malaysia is experiencing an upward trend from 42.25 cases per 100,000 people in 2017 to 50.90 in 2019. In 2016, out of the 33 food poisoning outbreak episodes in Terengganu, 23 involved schools. This included 2 outbreaks that involved food prepared in neither the school nor hostel canteen. The 3 questions we will be discussing in our video are: 1. What are the causes of the continuous cycle of foodborne diseases in Malaysia? 2. Why is it still not under control? And 3. How does Malaysian culture influence it? When our group decided to work on foodborne diseases in Malaysia, we agree on the prediction that foodborne diseases are due to multiple cultural factors of Malaysia, which puts it on another level of severity compared to other countries. From our personal experience in Malaysia, we have encountered many instances where people prioritize other aspects of food more than its cleanliness. We believe quality not only lies in the food's taste, but also whether it is safe for consumers to eat. Currently, we have not seen significant changes being made despite the government's efforts. Therefore, we predict that the main contributor to foodborne diseases in Malaysia is people's attitude towards food hygiene, which might be due to the lack of education in this area. If people try to ignore this problem in the long run, more people will suffer from foodborne diseases. If the number of foodborne diseases cases in Malaysia increases continuously, it will imply a negative image to tourists from other countries when they visit Malaysia, where tourists no longer trust the hygiene and safety to eat the food due to the soaring cases. Although Malaysia is a popular food tourism destination, the number of tourists visiting Malaysia will decrease because the food is no longer trustworthy to be eaten. Consequently, the economy of the country will be affected too, as Malaysia's economy heavily relies on tourism.
Through our research, we have identified and categorized 3 main contributors of the high rates of foodborne diseases in Malaysia. The first factor is that premise grading system is not strict enough. The second factor is that there is lack of impact in food handling training in Malaysia. And the third factor is that Malaysia's climate is optimum for bacterial growth. Firstly, on what grounds do we think that the premises grading system is not effective enough? In the Food Hygiene Regulations 2009, it states that all food premises must be registered with the Ministry of Health Malaysia. The purpose of this is to allow inspections to happen where a grading system will be applied. The grading system is officially called as Sijil Penarikan Kebersihan Premis Makanan, where it translates to Food Premises Hygiene Withdrawal Certificate. The reason why we think that the grading system isn't effective is that it's only updated once every 2 to 3 years. Compared to other countries like China, the grading system is regularly updated at least thrice a year. In addition to that, the Chinese authority in charge of the grading has to also be filled in for any clarification. This practice of transparency is not applied in Malaysia, leading to inattentively guided grading system.
In the following graph, we can compare between the frequency of food premises and food poisoning incident rate. We can see that there's a significant spike in food poisoning incident when food premises inspection decrease. Another problem is that there's a large population of consumers and food handlers that aren't aware of the significance of foodborne illnesses. Is it really because there's no training system? That's not true. The MOH has established the Food Handlers Training Program since 1996 as a mandatory program to increase the knowledge of food handlers on food hygiene. In addition to that, multiple organizations have also been established as strategies to cope and prevent foodborne illness cases. For example, the National Food Safety and Nutrition Council and the Food Laboratories section. So why are there still increasing cases of foodborne illnesses?
That is because some food handlers think that food handling courses are unimportant, because there is no regular inspection by the authorities. Some even had no idea about food handling courses or had no financial support from employers for money and transportation to attend the course. Besides that, Malaysian culture also play an important role. For example, nowadays locals are more likely to eat out, which leads to a peak hour in restaurants. During peak hours, there will be neglectance of food hygiene as the kitchen is busy. Moreover, many food premises opening at night are situated on the side of the road, which exposes their food to pollutants of vehicles that are passing by. Furthermore, due to the increase in the expenses of food, many locals have the dual mindset where they prioritize low-priced food over cleanliness. It is detrimental that consumers don't see the big picture, as there is a lack of awareness being made for it. Malaysian locals underestimate the effects of foodborne diseases, as the symptoms they usually experience are usually mild.
So, did you know that 3% of mortality rates were caused by diarrheal diseases globally in 2015? As of 2019, the WHO also reported that 9 million people contracted typhoid and 110,000 deaths were recorded in that year. There are countless types of foodborne illnesses other than cholera or salmonella that poses symptoms ranging from mild to severe or even fatal. Malaysia is one of the countries that have high cases of foodborne diseases due to the optimum temperature and condition for the growth of bacteria. This is because Malaysia is a country located near the equator, which means that it is summer all year around. The surface temperature in Malaysia has been estimated to increase between 2.7 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius per century. Most bacteria will survive better in these optimum warm conditions, for instance, Vibrio parahemolyticus and Salmonella. What are your thoughts about the current situation of foodborne illnesses in Malaysia, and why do you think this is happening?
As far as foodborne illnesses go in Malaysia, I think it's more towards the lower socioeconomy layer of people that are more affected by it. Of course, the higher the standard of living, the less you will encounter these kind of things, because you don't really have the chance or the need to go to get food from, say, places that are not that clean. For example, roadside stalls. For example, maybe certain mama places.
It would be things like unhygienic preparation of food for a long period of time, or it would be also the fact that after the food is prepared and how it is consumed is also different. So in terms of certain types of food, when it's consumed raw, there are a lot of steps that needs to be taken if it needs to be consumed raw. So whether or not we're actually following those steps to make sure that it's consumed well. For instance, oysters, it is usually consumed raw. So however, there has to be a way to clean these oysters before they are served. So is it done or not? So for me, that could be the causes, like in terms of like human and the people who are preparing the food, whether or not they are trained in the way where they prepare the food properly or not. If they prepare the food properly, usually I don't think there will be any problem with illnesses.
Second question, how serious do you think this situation is in Malaysia? And have you ever encountered patients that suffer from severe foodborne diseases?
I'm currently working in a like a normal general clinic. So my patients mostly are from lower socioeconomic status because most of them are factory workers, and a lot of them are like foreigners, Myanmar, Bangladesh. So a lot of them really, like, some of them come to my clinic monthly for these symptoms of foodborne illnesses. But then if we talk about severity of the illness, it's not really that bad. Most of them recover in 1 or 2 days. So it's more of it's more common, but it's not that bad. As last time, some of them have diarrhea for like 1 week with some fever, probably a stronger infection was there. But now it's more common because of all the food handling and all, and maybe because I'm handling more of a lower socioeconomic status kind of crowd. So the numbers I'm seeing are from that class of people. So I think as far as the low socioeconomic status layer, it's worsening in terms of numbers, but not worsening in terms of severity, because of probably people are more conscious and they come to clinic earlier so that we can give them the medication to stop the illness earlier, so it won't get that bad.
What do you think are the health impacts?
I mean like the impact of foodborne illnesses. So we go by social, medically, and maybe mental, maybe probably a bit if it's very bad. So social, of course, you have to take a lot of medical leave from work. Even if you don't take medical leave from work, people will like look at you like, hey, this guy has slowed down a bit. His work performance is very bad these few months, because he's always on leave, or like even if he's coming to work, he's always running to the toilet, and then he's always out of energy. This brings us to the second thing, the medical aspect of the illness. Long term, the nutrition probably is not very good. If you're having food poisoning every other week, your nutrition probably is very bad, and then long term, your body will start to wear out, and then you'll feel very tired, and you'll get very sleepy probably, and that will further impact your social life, your daily life, your work, and all that. And then finally, the mental aspect kicks in. You'll feel depressed and all that. But that is further down the road, because I do see some of the foreign workers, they have some issues because they're taking too much MCs, and their employer starts to question them. Oh, you're really having this food poisoning? I have this human resource department called my clinic once. So like, hey, this guy is taking medical leave for food poisoning every month. Who has food poisoning every single month for 6 months? I mean, like, I saw him, I told him, apparently this worker does. And according to him, the food he takes is all from your factory. So there are some issues with the factory cafeteria also, probably because they are serving more of foreigners. They don't care much about the hygiene and the quality of the food there. So that affects, again, it goes back to socio-economic status. Yeah. So the impact is there.
Food hygiene plays an important part in keeping the community safe. What measures do you think the government should take to ensure that food is being sold to the public more safely?
In terms of food hygiene, food safety, and things like that. So measures of what the government should take to ensure would be to actually just enforce the rules that they already have. They already have a lot of food and drugs associated. We have the FDA for Malaysia, we have the food safety for Malaysia. So actually all the rules and regulations is there, but are people actually enforcing it? Like during the pandemic, right, there was an increase in foodborne illnesses, and that's kind of weird because why? People are actually using things like hairnet, people were using gloves and all this during that time. So you would think that foodborne illnesses should drop, right? But it wasn't. It was actually increasing during those times. And one of the reasons they found was first, the lack of enforcement, and second, because of the pandemic, people lost a lot of jobs. These people who lost their jobs were allowed to do things like home-based cooking. So you see, in order to be able to provide to a community, you must take typhoid injections and things like that. But during the pandemic, no one really checked. and we just posted it on Facebook. You're like, hey, I'm cooking cake today. That's like one stuff. So you send from one home to another home, but are you sure it was prepared well? So that's that lah. So in that way, what can the government do is going back to enforcement, really making sure whoever is providing food, especially things on social media, whether or not they are actually making sure that those people who are on social media providing food to the community is actually following the rules and regulations, especially those at home. Are they following or not when they do like food delivery, things like that?
So next is, in your opinion, to be safe, what do you advise the public to do to avoid contracting foodborne illnesses?
And the first thing that came to my mind was like, hey, I can cook myself. So in that way, yes, reduce the cases of foodborne illnesses in Malaysia if I cook myself. But I ask the question back again, am I really better than a professional chef? Obviously not. A professional chef will have more experience, more understanding of how to prepare the food. So even though I cook at home, it doesn't really make much of a difference to reduce illnesses. However, what I can do is learn what is the right way to prepare the food, and also make sure that in my own house, in my own compound, when I prepare food for people who come over and things like that, make sure that it's safe lah. Or if not, if I have to get someone to deliver the food to me, or when I have parties and things like that, making sure that the food that is delivered when I give it to other people is actually safe, and whoever I'm getting from is actually government approved in terms of FDA and food safety and things like that.
Okay, last question. When deciding for a place to eat, do you prioritize the taste of food over hygiene? Why, especially in our country?
It really, again, depends on what I see. So for instance, if I were to see a roadside shop, see all the area around is like so messy and so dirty. But when I look at the food being prepared, if the food is prepared like super fresh, yeah, and it's tasty, of course, I wouldn't mind having the meal there if the taste is good. However, if it's like non-hygienic and the food has been laying out too long, it's not fresh and things like that, then I wouldn't choose to be there.
There are various solutions that can be done to counterattack this problem. Firstly, we have to identify the main individuals that are involved and are responsible for the foodborne diseases. They are the government, food handlers, and food consumers. There should be a law that's implemented to make regular inspections of food premises compulsory. This is to ensure that there's consistency in the hygiene of the food premise and that the food handlers are following according to the food hygiene laws. The third thing that needs improvement and help from the government is laboratory-based research and surveillance, inspection of food, education on consumers, and an effective response system. On the topic of research, we believe that more attention should be given to the climate change factors in food safety management and research. Besides that, the officially approved training programs have to be effective. This can be accomplished by conducting the training in various languages and by having refresher hands-on lessons where food handlers can have a chance to rehearse what they've learned. As Malaysia is a multiracial country, using one language to conduct the food safety training is simply not logical.
Well, we have come to the end of this video. We hope that through this video, you have learned a thing or two about foodborne diseases and how this could be improved to ensure that food hygiene and safety is carried out through food handling processes. Thank you for watching. Bye!